And because of that, he will work in us. And he loves righteousness and justice. He doesn't like to see us struggling. He doesn't like to see us in trouble. He doesn't like to see the problems in the world. Remember last week I talked about that holy discontent. Those things that God sees in the world, he gives to us as well. That as we look out into the world, that we have the compassion that he has. Because of his love of righteousness and justice, it comes to us as well. That we look at the world in a different lens when we look through the lens of God. When we aspire, like I said last week, for that love, for that agapapo, for that divine love of God, our lenses change. We see the world totally different. There's a new show on TV called Dark Blue. It's a show where it's deep undercover work by this group of 4 individuals. And in the first show, the main character is trying to recruit a girl onto the team. And they do this. They're sitting in a diner. He looks outside and says, "What do you see?" She says, "Cars." He's like, "Well, you know what I see? I see that guy trying to get his next raise. I see that woman trying to get her rents. I see him thinking about what he shouldn't be doing. I see the brokenness. I'm going to teach you to see the world the same way." We see the world differently when we're children of God, when we're looking through that lens of his love. He loves righteousness and justice. And we worship him because he sees the world that way, and because he helps us see the world that way. Secondly, by the word of the Lord were the heavens made, their starry host by the breath of his mouth. He gathers the waters of the sea into jars. He puts the deep into storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the people of the world revere him. For he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. The Lord foils the plans of the nations. He thwarts the purposes of the peoples. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever. The purpose of his heart through all generations. By the word of the Lord the heavens were made. We worship him because of his character and because of his word. The divine Logos, referred to in the book of John. In the beginning was the Word, the divine Logos, which, if you look at the beginning of John, it's talking about Jesus. Remember, Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, all the law and the prophets and the Psalms speak about me. When it's talking here, by the word of the Lord, it's talking about Jesus. Jesus is that divine word that spoke the world into existence. Jesus was there from the very beginning. We worship God because of the divine Logos, for the creative power of who God is, and speaking it into creation. God the Father created the world through the divine Logos of the Son speaking the world into existence. And we worship him because of his character, because of his love and his faithfulness. But we also worship him because he created all this. And he's so much greater than we can ever imagine. But isn't that interesting and wonderful to hear the divine Logos who spoke the world into existence is the same God, the same one who died for this world that he spoke into existence. That he didn't just create it and just leave it to be, however, like an old trophy deep in your closet. We cherished that thing when we first got it. We loved that thing. This represented this wonderful achievement that I made. But now it sits in the closet. Aren't you happy that God didn't do that with us? That he saw this wonderful world that he made and then just throw it into his closet? Instead, he cares for it and he loves about us. He cared about us so much that the one who spoke the world into existence is the one who died to save each and every one of us. Creator. And for that, he most definitely deserves our praise. Why do we praise him? Because he created the world. Because he cared for us so much that he not only created it, but he died for us, his creation. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the people of the world revere him. For he spoke and he came to be, he commanded and stood firm. The Lord foils the plans of the nations. He thwarts the purposes of the peoples. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever, the purposes of his heart through all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people who he chose for his inheritance. From heaven the Lord looks down and sees all mankind. From his dwelling place he watches all who live on earth. He who forms the hearts of all, who considered everything they do. No king is saved by the size of his army, no warrior escapes by his great strength. The horse is a vain hope for deliverance, despite all its great strength it cannot save. But the eyes of the Lord are on those who fear him, on those whose hope is in unfailing love, to deliver them from death and keep them alive from famine. The third reason that we worship God, first, because of his character. Second is because of his creative word, the divine logos. The third is because of his purposes. The good news about God is that he doesn't change. The way he does things changes. Because for Moses, the way he got his attention was a burning bush. But one thing that the people want to do there is they see that idea of the burning bush and they say, where's my burning bush? And God says, that's not going to get your attention. You'll just call the fire department. Something else has to get your attention. Something else. And so God does not change, but he works in different ways to get our attention. For Moses, it was a burning bush. For Mary and Joseph, it was an angel. For Paul, he was struck down blind. I personally would not like to get that one. But for each of us, it's different. He does not change. His purposes do not change.